Ainz Gown, the undead sorcerer king, ruled over his human subjects with an iron fist. Or, rather, it was more like a skeletal hand. You know, because he's an undead skeleton guy. The people of Riestes lived in fear of their master, too afraid to question his every whim. But deep beneath layers of fear and submission, something stirred in the hearts of men. Hope. It started as a whisper in the slums of Riestes. A tale passed in hushed voices between servants and soldiers. Nazarick is not perfect. They made a mistake. They can bleed. And for some, that whisper became a reason to fight. In a crumbling church turned safe house, a secret gathering was held. Soldiers, mages, nobles in hiding, all once stripped of power by the sorceress kingdom, met under candle. At the center of it all was the young man from before. Climb. He had disappeared after the fall of Princess Renner. Believed dead or imprisoned. But he had survived. Not just survived. Gone was the quiet, obedient guard. Now, he spoke with steel in his voice. We don't need to defeat Ainz, he said. We need to remind the world that he can be defied. His plan was audacious, dangerous, perhaps even insane. To defy a being who seemed untouchable, who was worshipped as a god by his own people. But Climb was no longer the timid young man who took orders without question. He had seen the depths of despair, the true meaning of fear. And from those depths, he had emerged with a burning resolve. He didn't seek vengeance. He didn't seek glory. He sought a symbol, a spark, a sign that even in the darkest of times, hope was not extinguished. As he rallied the disillusioned and downtrodden, sharing his belief that Ainz could be defeated, a glimmer of rebellion ignited within the hearts of men. They were tired of living in the shadows, tired of being second-class citizens in their own land. Climb gave them a purpose, a reason to rise up against their oppressors. At the same time, Ainz stood within his throne room in Nazarick. Eyes closed. He could feel it. Something brushed against his senses like a pebble dropped in a still pond, creating ripples that spread and echoed. Rebellion. A small tremor, barely noticeable, yet enough to catch the attention of the Beside him, Albedo, the ever-loyal guardian of Nazarick, urged him to crush this budding dissent. Her instincts were honed to perfection, always thinking several steps ahead. She knew that a small spark could turn into a raging inferno if left unchecked. Demiurge, the strategist, prepared contingency plans, his mind already calculating the best course of action to snuff out this rebellion before it began. But Ainz was silent. For a moment, he savored the sensation, the feeling of something new stirring in the world. It was like the gentle touch of a long-forgotten emotion. Curiosity. Let them try, he murmured, his skeletal fingers drumming against the armrest of his throne. Was it confidence? Or was it something else entirely? The game was changing, and Ainz, the grand strategist, was about to make his move. Meanwhile, Climb ventured deeper into the heart of the rebellion, seeking to unite all factions against their common enemy. He forged alliances, kindled courage, and led with a conviction that inspired others. His sword, once dulled by obedience, was now sharpened by purpose. He wasn't alone. There were others who felt the same way, who yearned for freedom and self-determination. Together, they formed a resistance, a beacon of defiance in the darkness. But as they grew in numbers and strength, so did the danger. For Ainz, the all-knowing ruler of Nazarick, was not one to be trifled with. His vast intellect and strategic brilliance were a formidable force. As the net of rebellion tightened around Ainz, he remained unfazed. From his vantage point in Nazarick, he observed the growing unrest, noting the key players and the strategies employed. It was almost as if he were playing a game where the pieces were people and the stakes were their very existence. Yet, as the rebellion reached a critical point, as the people of Ainz prepared for open defiance, something unexpected happened. A single soldier, a young man named Climb, stepped forward, challenging Ainz to a duel. He had a sword, not a magic item, not a relic, but a simple blade that glinted in the sunlight. It was a small act of defiance, yet it carried the weight of countless hopes and dreams. It was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a refusal to bow to tyranny. And in that moment, Ainz saw something in Climb, something that intrigued him. He saw courage, determination, and most importantly, a spark of something that resembled his former self. It was as if he were looking at a reflection, a reminder of the time when he had been a mere adventurer seeking glory and recognition. As the two figures faced off, the fate of Ainz hung in the balance. The people watched in suspense, their hopes pinned on this unlikely hero. For in the face of overwhelming odds, it was easy to despair. But Climb's bravery offered a flicker of hope, a chance that maybe, just maybe, they could win back their freedom.